Wait, we're recording a podcast?
I can just go. I can just leave. I can do intro this time if you want. If you want, like, alternate it.
If you want to. The world is yours. I'm going to count you down.
I hype myself up.
You want me to count you down?
No. Yeah.
180. 179.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TNC podcast with R&E, otherwise known as the Talk and Cock podcast, with Ryan and Eli as your host. It's called Talk and Cock because it's just two guys dicking around. Eli, how you doing today, man?
I've really got nothing to say.
Oh, cool. Episode done.
But yeah, no, that was the easiest one we've done.
Yeah, wow.
No, I'm doing good. I'm going through life right now. It's a fun time. I'm sure you know.
Yeah. One second.
We're gonna have to cut this out because my microphone is.
All this is left in. I'm gonna cut out the actual interesting parts of the podcast and just leave these.
You're just gonna film this. The audio is working. It's just like the arm is malfunctioning, which is what it is. But
I'll just come over and hold your mic permanently in place with my arm.
I'm using one of your fake arms over here to hold this one up.
You gotta get the real things.
No, I have a mold. I did a mold of your arm the last time you were in Columbus.
Well, it's gonna be a lot smaller than what they are now. So you're just going through life right now. Is that what?
Yeah.
Nothing new.
I had today off. I had today off though because I had a doctor's appointment that lasted 31 seconds. So
didn't they want you to travel like all the way?
Yeah, they
wanted
Cincinnati. Me to go back. Yeah, they wanted me to go back home to accomplish something that was accomplished in 31 seconds. So
it'd be worth the trip.
Yeah, sounds. I mean, 31 seconds versus
that's
like
longer than
a day and a half. A day and a half commitment.
Longer than I last in bed. Yeah.
Wow. It's a shame. I'm sorry.
I cut off like right at the 30-second mark. I like to keep things in tens,
So you like get to 30 and then you're like, all right, whatever happens now, is what it is.
No, like I get to 30 and I'm like, well, I know I'm not getting to 40. So I'm just going to be done at 30.
Okay. I mean, you do you, man.
I just come on
That's
command.
Kind of weird.
I command. Anyway.
We can go with that.
Yeah. How you doing, Ryan? Well,
yeah. Ryan, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Dude, for some unknown reason, I told you this already, but I ran 2 5Ks 2 days in a row, working 8-hour shifts on my feet before them. So like yesterday, I did an 8-hour shift and then I ran a 5K. Then the day before that, I did an 8-hour shift and then I ran a 5K. Today, I walked like 3 miles. I didn't run this time, but like, I don't know what's got into me. I actually really could have run today. But like when I tried stretching, crazy. I was like, oh, my muscles are screaming a little bit. I should probably just walk.
I mean, at least you're still getting out there, right?
But I'm going to prove that I didn't peak at 20. So that's a good start. And honestly, like 20-year-old me, I'm kind of dusting him right now. In terms of like work ethic.
What's your mile time?
My fastest mile time. Oh, I don't even want to. I'm not being that for a while. Let me get in the app.
It's like because I used to run across country, right?
I ran in like 8th grade. Does that count?
Well, no, that's when I did mine too, but then I tore my ACL, so I had to stop.
So my fastest mile time is 6:36.
That's good. That's good, man.
I'm doing it because, well, for one, like I do want to do boxing. Yeah. That's a legitimate goal of mine. And if I don't have cardio, I shouldn't even try.
Yeah,
Um,
you're not gonna be able to manage your manage anything without cardio.
everyone has like their boxing nickname, you know.
What's yours gonna be?
Oh,
31 seconds.
it's
You either get knocked out in 31 seconds or you knock
or I
someone out
win.
in 31
After
seconds.
31 seconds, I just throw in the towel.
You just you full on take your hands down and just stand there and wait.
No, I just start unwrapping my gloves. Like, all right. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, it's past 31 seconds. I'm not gonna win after 31 seconds. It's only downhill from
you
here.
just start walking off. You're like, yep, have a good one, guys. Yep.
I do what the ref's supposed to do. I'm like, I just start waving it off myself. Like, I walk back to my corner. My coach is like, what? And I just grab the towel, throw it in.
Towel thrown.
People think like fighting and like boxing is more of like a very masculine thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like they're just women boxing is like starting to get more popular a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but it really hasn't been like it's been a man dominated sport for a
Yeah.
long time. And I think there's a lot of toxic masculinity that comes from like being able to fight. A lot of people get super aggressive and
Like their testosterone levels like are rising, and it's just like,
and some guys shouldn't be taught how to fight because they're very toxic, and if they have
yeah,
partners then it's very bad situation.
yeah,
You know, it's like Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion of the world.
yeah.
You see him, he looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Like he is not in shape at all, but he is the heavyweight champion of the world because his mind is right. And that's kind of like that kind of discipline is really appealing to me. And I think
So
it's a unique set of challenges rather than like a toxic masculinity type thing and like an ego type thing. I like the competitive nature and getting your mind right.
so do you think that there are, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna agree with this, but do you think that there are people who start boxing or start, doing like, like heavy cardio activities so that they are like, so that they themselves either feel or other people perceive them as more of a man than they would be if they didn't work out like that?
I
Like, do you
think
think there are
so.
people who start boxing or fighting just to be like, yeah, like I'm the fucking dude. Like I can beat up anyone.
I like, for instance, like Conor McGregor,
Yeah,
very high level striker, but then
yeah,
he'd start random fucking bar fights because of his like toxic masculinity in himself. And that's not, there's a lot of guys like that. There's a lot of guys who abuse that power that they
yeah.
get and that knowledge that they get. Like you have to go into it from a good place. You have to start doing these things for the right reasons.
Mhm.
Um, Not because you have a lot of anger inside and you want to unleash it. Because that's just not great. I mean, Mike Tyson will probably tell you the same thing. He
If
was,
I ever talk to him.
he will.
Oh, we will.
I got him
Okay.
on speed dial, so I can just call him up
Okay.
next time. Yeah,
You want to call him up right now?
yeah. We're boxing buddies.
Ask him to join the call.
Nah, he's
Oh,
doing
it
mushrooms
is.
right now.
It he probably is. It
Nah,
is.
but
It is interesting to me though, like seeing guys get so heavily obsessed with an activity that they kind of like, either their personality is already there and all it does is enhance it, or it like
or
changes them into
it could bring out the
being
worst in you if you let
yeah,
it. It could really hurt you if you're not like prepared mentally for it. That's why you have to have your mind right.
yeah,
Because
yeah. No,
a lot
that
of
seems
men
very
in
fun.
a lot of men in different positions never actually like developed correctly. I don't think the world is such a man's world anymore. I don't think it's such a male dominated world. A lot of
No,
men suppress a side of themselves and it keeps them underdeveloped, no
for
matter how old they
forever.
are.
And yeah, and I mean, you see people in Congress that are still not fully matured, and it's like
Yeah,
you've been in this role for 50 years and you have never stepped out of your comfort zone, and
you
like
never grow up.
actually, yeah. But like, I feel like I I I don't know. I feel like, especially in America, it's, like, boys are raised to, in a certain, up until a few years ago, when gender identity and, the fluid spectrum of, the sex that you want to associate yourself with, like, up until then, most boys were being raised to be boys.
Yeah,
Most parents did not give their 4-year-old son a Barbie to play with. They would give him a monster truck to play with.
yeah, and
And
they
like,
were made to be boys, and they never grew up from being boys.
because that's all they knew,
Yeah,
right? That's the only thing that they saw, because their father was, if their father was in their life, their father was probably that figure for them. So they were like, oh, that's how I should be growing up to be. That's who I'm aspiring towards.
yeah.
But I,
It's such a
I
limited like space to be in, and the world is so much larger and so much more expansive
it
than that.
it
That
is.
like it leaves you in such a limited, like you're in such a limited space that you can't understand the rest of the world, and so you lash out, and so you get this hatred towards a bunch of different groups, whether it's homophobia, whether it's transphobia, like all these
Yeah,
insecurities about yourself, because it's like, "Oh, that's not how it should be," because that's not, that's,
that's
I
not
don't
what I
know
was
this,
taught.
what the fuck is this. They
Yeah.
freak out, and a lot of insecurities turn into hatred of different groups, when really, like, you shouldn't give a fuck. Even if you're not gay, why do you
Well, I
care if
mean,
other people are?
that's the whole thing, though. It's like, if like, this is very controversial, but issue one, the Ohio's bill for banning the abortion.
Yeah,
Um, People were like, I don't know if ignorance is the right word, but there's definitely something going on with the people who, they don't want to see the world for what it is. They want to see the world in their own eyes, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah.
they want,
Like I talk about
like,
that
if
limited space that they're in, like that, and their
exactly,
mind is so like closed off, their vision is so closed off that like anything else just doesn't make sense. And what's
and
worst
and
about it,
it,
because like there's a lot of people that take advantage of that, like in the media, like
oh
fucking
yeah.
Fox News and some shit. Like
Yep.
they will push their agenda, even the churches, even in religion, they will push
Yeah.
this hatred agenda toward whatever they want, and the people that have these limited mindsets are the ones that are all pulled into that. The ones that
because
never got the chance to
because
develop and to work through their traumas and to learn and be more compassionate, they take advantage of those people, and they say you shouldn't be compassionate, you shouldn't develop, you shouldn't become better, you should be exactly how you are right now, and you should listen to me and hate these people.
hmm and I just, it's like, for me as a man, like, it's disgusting.
Yeah, like I
It,
don't
it's
want to
it's
identify
like,
with this gender anymore.
no, and like, like, all of these viewpoints are predominantly, possessed by the older generation. But there are still people in our generation that were raised by those people, and they have never gotten out of that confined space that we're talking about.
Yeah,
So
it's
they
like living in
so
a
they
cult.
believe it
You live in
is
a
living
cult,
it
and
is living in a cult.
you can't like you don't get any other outside influence. You don't get a chance to think for yourself and take in all information,
Yeah.
and then make your own belief system and stuff. And so like, again, those people are angry. Those people are hurt. They never get a chance to work through their trauma, because there's a lot of trauma. Everyone experiences trauma growing up.
Everyone does.
And if you
Even if you had a quote unquote perfect childhood, there's still some trauma to follow.
There's still
that.
problems. There's still definitely problems because even if you have like this perfect childhood, you know, maybe it's because like your parents gave you everything you wanted. And so then you never learned like the
How to
value
be
of things.
grateful, or even just the value of money,
Yeah,
like the value of currency. You know,
exactly.
some people grow up with everything given to them, and they hit their 20s, and then they're like, oh, well, why can't I afford this anymore? And it's like, oh, because your supply's been cut off. Or,
Yeah.
oh, because that's not how normal people spend their money. That's not how you can save money while also living at the same time.
You know, we talk about this masculine stuff, and I think that's such a limit. We talk about how it's so limited, right? Because I personally believe that everyone has masculine and feminine attributes. Whether to what degree, I don't know. But as men, we are encouraged to push down anything that's not quote unquote manly or push
Yep.
down our emotions. Don't release them. Don't talk about anything that bothers us until it comes out and we just lash out and we get angry. We don't work through anything in a healthy way. And that, if you want to be a real men accept themselves. Real men are compassionate. Real men actively work through their problems and their trauma to become better men.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
that's where we're getting like kind of lost in today's world because I have a lot of feminine energy, like that I, you know, didn't really get to express that much growing up. Um, because you have to be manly, and so I was just always fucking quiet. I was just very, very
yeah.
quiet. Because like, I'm bisexual, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like I mostly like women, but some guys I'm like, yo,
Mm-hmm.
but like that side of myself, I suppressed for so long. I was like, no, I can't like any guy. I can't like any men at all. I can't, you know. It was such
Yeah.
a shame thing that it made me hate myself for so long. And once I accepted that part of myself, once you accept the male and female
Like,
sides of yourself, then you get balance and you get acceptance and you're able to like love yourself and
and
you
you can spread that love to other people. If you
yeah,
can't, if you don't accept yourself, how do you expect how do you expect to accept anyone else for who they are if you are still insecure about who you are? Like, it's
exactly.
just like they're really so connected. It's absurd. But
Yeah. That
people think they
insecurity.
can, yeah, and you know, like, that's why a lot of relationships fail, because one or both people don't even know who they are themselves, or they don't
Yeah.
even they don't love them, so they think that, oh, well, I'm gonna tell this other person that I am fully in love with them, that I'll do anything. But it's just it's a projection of how little they care about their own self.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly. There's
like
two sides. There's two
that
sides to
self
yourself.
res that self respect is just not there. So then they, like, you know, put in every ounce of energy into another person, and it ends up blowing up because they don't know how to express those emotions. They
Yeah.
just think, oh, well, I'm gonna get in a relationship and it's gonna be fine.
Well, like, and that's the thing too. Like being a real man, you know, not even a real man, being great, just being like the concept of being great.
Like being a
Greatness
great
is
person.
great person. Greatness is because you're a great person. It's not because of your accomplishments. It's because you're a good man or good woman. You know, like
Yeah.
that respect that you give others, that helpfulness, that empathy. Because men are empathetic. Real men are empathetic, and they are understanding.
Yeah.
Um, that thing that you spread to others, you also have to spread to yourself. You also have
Hmm.
to respect and be empathetic towards yourself in every aspect of yourself. A lot of
No, you
people
do.
like you hear about these pastors who like preach against homosexual like
And then
activities and
they're
all that, and then they're trying to get with little boys.
uh-huh.
They preach against pedophilia and they try to get it's because those insecurities that you feel are you're preaching against because you're feeling them. You're feeling all these
Hmm.
things. Just
And
like
he's like, well, I know this isn't right, so I'm just gonna put it out there so no one else does what I'm doing. but
Yeah.
then it's like,
It's like
okay, that
you have
doesn't
such a
quite add
hatred
up.
you have such a
Yeah,
hatred for this thing that you are doing because you hate yourself for it.
yeah,
And it's like
yeah.
you got to be empathetic towards these things, and you can't live in this limited mindset. I used in high school, I thought at one point that I was like transgender because
Oh, really?
I hadn't expressed that female side of me
Yeah.
at all, and it just came up, and it just blew up in my face because I suppressed that for so long, any feminine attributes for so long,
Hmm.
and it just blew up in my face, and all this feminine energy came in. And I'm like, am I transgender? And it's like no, like there's nothing wrong with being transgender, but that's just not who I am. Some people
Hmm.
have more feminine energy and or masculine energy and they transition, which is fine
Yeah,
because
no,
you have
100%.
to become your true self.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just how it is. You have all this energy and you got to find out how to balance it. And if that's the answer for balance, that's the answer for balance. Um,
Yeah.
and I got really scared. I was like, no one's going to accept me. I had that
Yeah.
moment. I bawled my eyes out. I was like, no one's going to accept me. It's a real thing. It's really scary.
No, I'm sure that is.
So
I'm sure
striking
that
that,
was too.
it's not scary to be transgender. It's scary to be
Oh,
transgender and see how other people react. Especially if you grow up in like a religious family, stuff like that, who people, people who don't accept that, you're like, oh my goodness, I'm isolating myself, basically.
yeah.
That's tough. But
No, it is.
you have to strike that healthy balance. You just have to.
Yeah.
And
And like,
you have to have that empathy for others as well.
mhm.
And you can see it too. You can see the insecurity. You can see like that they're hurting. They don't like this part of
Yeah.
themselves and they can't accept themselves.
And that's why they may, seem like awkward or unsocial because they're not sure what they're supposed to be doing in a certain situation because they don't like that they don't have that experience. They've been trying to get that experience, but they can't get
Yeah.
out of it.
And the
You know?
people become so like hurt for so long that they become numb. They become
Mhm.
apathetic and not empathetic like people should be.
Yeah.
And so basically they just become worse versions of
Ish.
AI that we're developing right now. You see what I did there? You
No,
see what I did
that
there?
was good.
That was good.
That was
Um,
good.
no, but they really do. Like you see so many people online like do these public like, pranks or something like that, where they're just
Yeah.
abusing people. They're literally just harassing and abusing people because they view them as like NPCs because there's no empathy for
Hmm.
your average person because these people are so hurt.
Yeah.
They are
Did
so attention deprived. They crave a validation so badly that they they're not human anymore basically. They lack their empathy.
no? Did you Sorry that you talking about that made me think of a TikTok, of course, that I saw the other week. But it was a YouTube prankster who was
Was
like
shot.
essentially harassed. Yes, yes, the guy that was shot in the mall because he was harassing an Uber driver or a DoorDash driver, one of that conglomerate um, driving agencies.
Yeah.
Um, and the driver told him like on 5 occasions, "Hey, please stop,
Leave me
please
alone. He's
stop,
like trying to
please
walk away
stop,
from
leave
him.
me alone,
This guy's like
please
following
stop."
him with this like weird audio on his phone and like
Yep, and like having a camera focused on him, and then all like
his
you know
crew like just all around like
it exactly, and the dude pulled a gun on him. I don't
yeah.
blame the guy because like
I really don't either.
this is what happens when you are not. I mean, this is not what happens when you're not empathetic, but
What happens?
this
It is
this
what
this is what
happens
happens when
when you have
you're
no empathy for other people and you view them as like tools for your video or something like that. Like that's just not. You're not a human at that point. And then his
yeah.
reaction to getting shot was like, "I want to make more pranks.
Hmm.
I got all this
Hmm.
publicity. That's great." Like you almost died. You clearly don't value yourself at all.
or other people.
Yeah, well, you especially have to hate yourself in order to not value your own life like that. And it's like I almost got
Especially
killed
after
doing
you've been
this.
shot.
It's like I
Like
got
I'm.
killed. I almost got killed doing this. And instead of learning a lesson and being like,
And
I should preserve my life because I want to preserve my life. I love myself.
mhm,
Instead, I hate myself so much that I'll put myself in these situations over and over. Like that guy
yeah,
is probably in so much pain emotionally. He probably has so much
probably.
emotional turmoil. And I'm not like
Hmm.
justifying it at all. It's his
No.
responsibility as a man to work through that.
Yes. His responsibility as a person
As a
to work
human
through that.
being to work
You know.
through his issues and to find out what went wrong. When the guy who shot him got acquitted. They got him on like a different charge, like it was firing a firearm
It
indoors.
was, yeah, in a
Um
in an indoor public space, but he didn't get charged with anything else.
yeah,
It
he didn't
was
get
just
charged
like,
for shooting the guy. It was just like, hey,
no,
you shot a gun in the mall. Like this
yeah.
space.
But if it
Which
was like outside,
then
he
he would just
probably would
been
have been fine
completely
because
acquitted.
it was an act of self-defense, which the video even shows it.
Yeah. I mean the jury
Like
thought
this,
so.
exactly. And if I was on the jury, I'd agree.
Yeah, and then when the prankster, walking out of court, his lawyer was like explaining things, and then the news reporter was like, "Hey, you have anything to say?" And the guy's just like making like trying to make a funny face or
Did he
something.
really?
Yeah, he was just trying to make a funny
What the?
face, and then his lawyer like tapped him, and then was like, "Okay, we gotta go. Like this is a very bad image. This is a very bad look."
I did not see that,
Yeah, that was,
but that does not surprise me.
and it's just like you really have no regard for your own life. Like you're so attention deprived. You need such validation. Which by the way, even if he became the most famous person in the world, he would still be in just as much pain
Yeah.
because you have to get that. You have to validate yourself.
And you have to take time to do that. You can't just flip a switch overnight and be like, "Oh, no,
Never mind. I
I'm
love
no
myself
longer
now.
depressed."
Unconditional love is like the true peak of like humanity. That's why we're
Yes.
human.
Yeah.
Otherwise we would just be
That's what
AI.
all of us strive for, is to find that with another person. Or,
Or
I
even
mean,
in
you can
yourself.
you can you can find unconditional love in animals too. Like
Oh yeah,
a man's best friend.
people were more like that. The Tommy, Tommy Wiseau, The Room. I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I
Yes,
did not hit
yes,
her.
yes.
I did not. Oh hi Mark.
Oh, hi,
What's new
Mark.
with you?
Yes.
Anyway, how is your sex life? Um, in that movie, I'm not saying Tommy Wiseau is a genius, but sometimes like just those simple phrases are like facts, bro. He said, "If a lot of people love each other, then the world would be a better place." And it's facts, bro. We have so
It
much.
it is.
Even the people in
There's
power, they crave money, and that will not fill the hole in their heart. That will not fill the insecurities they feel. Because those people aren't working through their shit. They're like, "Oh, I hold a position of power. I'm great. I'm all this." And really, they're no better than the average Joe working 9 to 5.
yeah,
Because that
yeah.
your career and your financial status isn't determining how great you are or where you are in your life.
Yeah, no.
Um,
I don't
a-
like,
and
me person sorry.
I was just gonna say we have all these insecure people in power, and they make all these terrible decisions.
Because of their insecurities.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I don't know. There's a fly on my keyboard. The fuck?
He's
Um
insecure.
yeah. Oh jeez. Just like the insecurities, like, I've been in some pretty interesting relationships. I'm sure Ryan can attest to this.
Yeah.
Um and a lot of discrepancies that happen in relationships, and a lot of like breaking points occur because of the insecurities of one or the other or both members of the relationship.
Facts.
because what happens within, like, I've done psychological study in college. I don't know why I didn't just say I studied psychology, but it's the same. The
I
same
thought you
point
did like an
is,
actual like study. Like I thought you participated in an actual study for a second.
well, I did for my eye surgery, but that's another story for another day. But no, like people who like end up forcing thoughts and opinions on other people, it's all boiled down to their own personal insecurities about either themselves, their own family, like their partner. It's all based on like when you're secure with yourself, you theoretically have nothing to express anger about.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, life
like
happens,
life does happen,
but
but
it's not.
you're
so secure with yourself, you don't take it out on your other partner.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And like examples of that is like, oh well, I'm cheating on her, that means she's cheating on me, and then you're going around accusing these people, and it's just like, looking back in retrospect, it's like, the fuck, like, no, like just because you're a dumbass and you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing does not mean they are as well.
Like they
But
believe that they're setting the standard for humanity. It's like,
it,
well, if I'm
it's
this low, then everyone's bad.
then everyone, yeah, exactly. And I I guess we'll segue again, but um like this kind of goes into the whole thing of like, at least not as of recently, but the whole men ain't shit era, um which, funnily enough, we already talked about this earlier. Most men are insecure.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
I mean,
So
like,
it's not as
I think everyone's insecure to a point. I think women are naturally more in tune with their emotions.
yes,
Very,
yes,
very much
and
naturally more in tune with their emotions.
they're also raised to express those emotions,
Yeah.
whereas men are raised not to express anything unless it's unless it's happiness.
Hold it all
It shouldn't. Exactly. Like unless it's happiness, it's not gonna be encouraged to share with the world. It's like, oh, if you're sad, go inside, go to your room. It's like,
It's like that
what?
Mac Miller song. Good news, good news, good news is all
Good
they want to hear.
news.
You have to be doing good as a man, but you can't do too good. Otherwise they'll be jealous. So you have to be doing good enough for them.
You got to be doing good enough,
But not too good to make them insecure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it's just like I don't know. I feel like every year it gets better, and then it gets worse, and it gets better, and it gets worse, and then the world happens, surprise, and just fucks everything up.
Yeah, there's this new
like
wave
we take
of toxic masculinity with like Andrew Tate's and stuff like that.
yeah.
Like, because before I think we were moving a better direction for sure.
Mm-hmm. Before
But then
COVID, do you think?
yeah,
I
think so.
I think a lot of stuff was going in the right direction in 2019.
But then people were inside, they were getting less interaction, they were becoming more incels, they're becoming toxically online, and their brain was fucking basically rotting.
Fried. Yeah.
And then also, like, there's a lot of people who were trying to develop. Like, I developed a lot in college. I learned a lot about myself and about, and I was a grown up at that point. It takes a long time to learn these things, and then when you don't have the social experiences to learn that, what's going to fill the void that in your learning gap? Someone who's telling you that you should traffic women and make them do OnlyFans.
Like
It's nuts that we gotten to this point, but it's because of all these just bad things that happens. Is terrible timing, terrible circumstance.
Yeah,
It's gonna take a lot of time to undo.
Mm-hmm. And I think the state of the world is affecting a lot of people in that way. People don't want to do the things that they used to do or express the feelings that they used to express because, I know for a fact that a lot of people in our generation, our motto right now is, what's the point? Because none of us know if we're even going to be alive in 10 years.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, and if we are alive, what's this shit gonna look like? Cause like, if it's already getting this bad, like I don't even know what we're supposed to expect to happen.
Yeah, because like constant conflict, everyone's on edge, and
Everyone is.
And then on top of that, the climate change, everything. I guess we just don't care.
Yep.
But like, and then also like all the people holding money at the top, and then everyone's getting poorer, and then why? For one, why do we even have fucking billionaires in the first place? Who needs that much money to just sit around and do nothing?
Exactly.
And for two, like, I'm gonna segue into our next topic, but AI.
Mm-hmm.
In 10 years, how many jobs are going to be taken by AI?
Mine probably will be.
This probably will be. Podcasts.
They haven't AI has not nailed the natural conversation though.
Yet.
If you've seen any of the videos, as like someone tried to
Bubble Cop?
have
Bubble Cop. I don't know if you've seen him, but he's fully into making AI only videos. He was a content creator for a long time.
But yeah, no, I remember him.
Now he's only AI. Not great AI. It's not good, but it's completely AI generated videos. He even goes on Twitter and brags like, I didn't lift a finger for this video or for that video. He gets an AI to write the script, and then maybe I think he gets like an employee to do the gameplay, and then it's just like, oh, Roblox parkour. The voice is weird, but his AI is improving, and he's like, this is the future. I don't want it to be. I think AI will take a lot of aspects.
Eventually, like it's like that's.
Well, here's the
that
thing too.
that was the end goal of civilization as we know it, right?
And I don't even know if it's like, I don't even know if it's accurate to call it AI per se, like its own artificial intelligence, its own like artificial consciousness.
Yeah.
Like I don't think that's so accurate to say about like a voice or something like that. But like if AI were to become as good as us in our brains and everything, and as conscious and conversational and stuff like that, I think they would run the world better than we do. I truly think so. There's no ego to get in the way. There's no insecurities that a lot of our leaders have. And on top of that, do you think that if we had AI, that they would think it's a good idea to hoard all the money at the very top in the top 1% of people and to keep everyone else in poverty? They wouldn't think that. They'd be like, well, let's just spread the money out and have everyone live good, better lives.
Yeah.
That's the more logical, reasonable solution.
No, yeah, I agree. Like I don't even know how it would look, but that does make sense. Like logically thinking.
Yeah. And we're killing the planet right now. We're absolutely killing it. We're making species go extinct. We're, destroying forests to...
The seawater temperature is the hottest it's ever been in the history of the planet.
Yeah, and
it's rising.
And instead of coming together as a world and saving our planet, we're going in harder. We're going in harder. We're doing more factory stuff. We're doing more shit. We're like, oh, we'll just move to Mars or something, after we kill this planet. It's like, why do we have to kill the planet? Why does that have to be a thing? Why can't we live in harmony with the planet? We did that for a while, but then we started
2,000 years.
Yeah, but then we started fucking killing it. And it's just
I mean,
there's no reason to do that. If we came together as a world, as human to human, we could fucking solve this problem. And some countries will struggle more than others. Like China's infrastructure is all based around like their factories and stuff like that. But like if we helped each other out and if we were actually empathetic towards each other, we could find a solution. But we're humans, we're too egotistical and insecure to do that.
yeah,
AI would just get it done. Probably instantly, honestly. Like when
yeah, just
they
got to
would
give it a
just
prompt.
well, when it gets to the point where it doesn't need a prompt, where it's just like another where AI becomes human, like us.
Write a new U.S. Constitution.
Literally. You know, but like not even like AI that we command. I'm saying
Yeah.
like they're just like us, conscious, and they could do a podcast with us. They're like human like us. If we get to that point, I think they would do a better job.
I don't know. Like I think a lot of good can come with AI,
Yeah.
but
What?
obviously, like everyone knows the bad that comes with it, which is the elimination of the human race. You know, because it's
Yeah.
not needed anymore for a continuous
Well,
society.
it's
But
just evolution
like
at the end of the day.
yeah,
That's just the next step of evolution. If I need to upload my consciousness to
but
the systems, then I'll upload my consciousness. It is what it is. Like
yeah,
no matter how I live, whether it's in this body or something else, like that's I don't know. I just see it as like the natural course of things. We can't delay the inevitable. I'm not saying like get rid of humans right now, even though I don't like people. I'm just saying like when the time
well, the
comes,
government's already trying to do it. So
yeah. But then there are I think that presidential candidate you told me about where he's like if AI are going to take a ton of jobs and stuff, then we need to tax companies so that people can live lives,
yeah,
like live natural and like decent lives if they can't get like these jobs anymore.
yeah,
Um and that's what I think we should do. If AI is going to take over, then like make everyone live comfortably. Make this next step
yeah,
of evolution very easy and very seamless.
yeah.
Um
I mean, I I hope for the sake of humanity, or at this point in my life, it's for the sake of me and my family and friends.
yeah,
Like
cuz like
if no one else is gonna care, if the government's not gonna give a shit.
a lot of people in our generation don't want kids.
No, and I'm there. I have almost fully decided that I don't want to bring kids into this world because it is so beyond fucked up that if I'm not gonna die for the end of the world, my kid is going to,
Yeah.
and I don't want to put that burden on them.
Yeah, me neither. Like I don't even
Like
know
I
if it's
already
that. It's like for one, I can't afford a fucking kid. I can barely afford to exist at
facts
all.
facts
Like
same here. Yeah,
I'm so poor. Like like I'm just like oh I'm just broke as fuck. That's been my entire existence. But like also I don't know if I want a kid because I mean for one I need to develop as a fuller person myself. I wish that my because I was an accident. I wish my parents um really developed through their shit, really worked through their insecurities and were ready for me. Like
before
I think every kid
yeah
deserves the most preparation you could probably give.
yes
Like if it's my kid, if I know that my kid's coming into the world, I'm gonna make sure that I'm ready, that I got everything I need, that I can support them and give them the best fucking life possible.
mm-hmm.
I don't have that luxury right now. I don't know if I ever will. And so like I'm not gonna bring a kid into this world. And maybe eventually I'll have a kid if I find the right partner that could
yeah
be empathetic and mature and raise them with me. But even then, I don't even know if I would have. like a child with my DNA, like I might just adopt. A lot of kids need adopting.
A lot of kids do need adopting.
A lot of people get abandoned. A lot of people get forgotten. That's another issue in this world. Like people just get forgotten so much.
So like these, some people come into your life for a period of time and then you move on. What do you think about them?
Out of sight, out of mind.
You think they're just perfectly fine not being in your life? I mean, obviously like some people are, but
I don't think
the
they
ones
care.
that aren't?
I don't think they care.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It's sad.
It is
And you
sad.
only like are good with the people that are like, I don't know, that you view as like successful, or you view as valuable, or you view as
to be friends with, or to be acquainted with, like something that you're gonna get value out of a friendship. Like why would I like that? I don't want to think of my friends as, oh well, what value do I get out of being friends with this dude?
And I think a lot of people with their trauma and everything and the things they never work through, I think some people have other problems and they fit together like puzzle pieces. That's how a lot of bad relationships happen, like toxic relationships. Like I had been a chaser for so long. I would chase people. I never respected myself to they're just like, if they don't want to be with me, they don't want to be with me. They don't want to be my friend, they don't want to be my friend. I was begging for attention. I was begging them to be my friend, to validate me. And that's just not how it is. If you can take a small step back and they just cease all contact or anything, then they're not real. Then that relationship isn't worth it. Because the reason we're friends, you and I, we lived together in 2021. But we haven't been living together for like 2 years. And we're still super close. And we still talk all the time.
And
because
I think
we both put in effort for this relationship. We both put in effort for this friendship. And, we're not chasing each other. We're not begging each other for attention. It's just, it's a very natural thing.
Yeah. And I think it's also partly
I think it's also a respect thing, or like I told you this before. You're one of the only people in my life that's never looked down on me. That's always looked across the table as if we're equals, no matter what situation either of us are in. Because when I went to the mental hospital, I was living with you. And then when and then when I got back, you didn't like look at me with fucking pity in your eyes. You were happy to see me, and we were
back.
And we just were right back to doing our thing, being friends.
Yeah.
Being a chaser myself, a lot of people look down on you and think you're less valuable and think they're worth more, so you should come to me. You should chase me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how human beings should treat each other.
Yeah. No, and I think that our relationship was even enhanced by the fact that there was that traumatic experience that happened in your life. And like I was,
you were there for me.
And I wanted to be there, and I also lived there, so I really had no choice. But I am,
I didn't want to be there, but like if I had to,
I embraced it, and I was like, all right, like this is Ryan, like I'm gonna accept him for whatever happens, but like I don't know, like our chemistry has just, I feel like, enhanced over the years, and it's a fantastic feeling.
Yeah,
it really is.
It's just a genuinely good relationship, genuinely good friendship that we have.
Yeah.
Which is why I wanted to start this with you in the first place. Because I never thought of starting something creative with like people that I didn't value that much.
Yeah. Well, because what would the point be?
Exactly. Like
you would just be working for yourself.
Yeah, and I grew past, I guess, wanting to do that stuff. Like it really is a maturity thing, and I think a lot of people work through their stuff in different ways. You've worked through a lot of stuff.
Certainly.
You've realize things that you've done wrong and stuff like that. I've done the same,
Yeah.
and there's just no ego here, which is really refreshing. I think a lot of people's egos are out of control. Again, these people that expect you to chase them, or just are toxic. They want drama, stuff like that. Like they get bored when things are going well. There's something to work through, and the sooner they do, like the sooner it is better, I guess. I think I've been single for a long time, a very long time. You know that. I think part of the reason is just like before when I was in relationships, I was a fucking mess. And I was finding puzzle pieces to fit my trauma. Like, oh, see, here's someone else with different problems than me, and we just fill in the gaps for each other. Surely that'll go well, right? Nope. Because as soon as one person changes a little bit, or, then it's like, oh, ow, 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 ow,
Yeah, then it's like these
These pieces
pieces
don't fit
don't
anymore
these yeah, exactly.
and become super toxic. But
It's like
you can't rely on other people to validate you. You can't rely on other people for your happiness. You really
yeah,
can't.
no.
It has to
You
come from within. And so like I feel like when I was in relationships, I was trying to find my puzzle piece. But now I am a full puzzle.
yeah.
I'm not complete. I'm not without flaws, but I can find validation in myself and what I do every day.
I obviously do have like my own insecurities that I've been working through for, my entire life essentially. Um so I've really kind of always felt like an outlier. So like me getting into relationships was a way to me it was a way for me to like integrate myself with society
Made you feel
and
normal.
more like it yeah,
It's like you had to
essentially.
be
It
in a
was
relationship, otherwise, what the fuck's wrong with you?
I mean, yeah, I struggled with a lot of social skills as a child. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I do all of these extracurricular activities just to fill my time up. And then once I got old enough to start working, I literally like in high school, I was doing 40. I was doing uh 40 hours of school a week and 35 hours of work,
That's
which I think drops. So 6 hours a day for seven. What's so like 42 hours of sleep, and then whatever is left was my free time.
yeah.
Um, so like me getting into a relationship filled that free time, but then that caused it to be like, okay, so I go to school, I work, I sleep, and then I am with my significant other, and then there's no time for anything else.
There's no time to develop you.
Exactly. So that's kind of the rabbit hole that I got
Kind of like ran
caught in.
away for a while.
I Yeah, I mean, and then college happened. I went to college. I was still in a relationship freshman, sophomore, and junior year, but I never took that time to
To work on
develop
yourself.
myself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
I mean,
the
my story. Like
yeah,
I ran from my problems for 10 years.
exactly.
10 years. And when I moved in with you is when I finally started working through my shit. And that's what almost killed me. But I needed that. Because it was so boiled up to a point where like if I didn't handle it now, I was going to die. Like people run away. People get vices and distractions for years and years. They just fill their time, never work on themselves. Sorry, fucking fly. Um,
Yeah.
but
No, I
I did music. Not even music I like, just music. Do music for 10 years to distract myself from problems and bad home life. Um, but once I got out of that
eh,
home life, and I was in a better environment, like living with you,
yeah.
it was a safer place to work through my problems and to be a flawed human being.
Oh, certainly. Certainly. Um and I think everyone needs that time or scenario, like even if it is drastic, like, you going to the hospital, like something needed to happen to, like, for you to be like, okay, like,
Yeah,
I want to make a change for myself.
because
I'm not gonna.
at that time, I was gonna start a second job. I was
Yeah.
working second job to fill my time to run away again, and it just I couldn't do it anymore. It literally took all my energy just to exist at all. I had my vices. I was vaping. I was depressed and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Like I just
You
sat
had
in my
your
room.
You had your distractions.
Yeah,
Everyone uses distractions to escape the world.
yeah. But
It's,
eventually, you boil things up like we talked about at the beginning. You boil things up so
yeah.
much that it just comes out in whatever form, and it boils over and it hits you in the face really hard.
We bottle up everything and then either run away or we stand still and do something that,
We are never taught how to handle it.
Exactly.
We have health class, but we don't have mental health class. Yeah, I actually do advocate for this. Sure, we have school counselors and stuff. I think we should get, because in like the psychology field, if you don't have a master's, you're not getting a job, right?
Yeah.
What if we took all those people with psychology bachelors and had them teach in public schools classes, required classes on how to work through your emotional
on how
trauma?
to handle mental health. No, I like it.
Fuck yeah.
I like what we've talked about today. This is
Very
some
deep.
good stuff.
I'm sorry
Very
if I yap
deep
too
stuff.
much, man.
No, it's all good, man. We both get our yap sessions in. It's all good.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much. If I'm talking too much, just be like, "Hey, you're a little bitch."
Hey, little stupid boy, shut up. Yeah, no, I mean it's all good stuff though. Like it's all stuff that really needs to be talked about that people don't talk about.
Yeah. Who
And
do you know that talks about this stuff?
who do you guys know that has a TNC podcast? Tell me.
Yeah. Tell me.
Tell me.
We're supposed to be the only ones.
Tell me.
Tell me.
We both look at the Oh, jeez. All right, well,
How big my eyes are.
yeah, I know. Very interesting.
I was gonna get the
I guess on that note.
Wait. Oh my god. I'm actually so fast. So the fly was flying through the air. I clapped and I looked at my hands. I was like, oh, I didn't get it. But I actually did get it. It landed on my arm. I clapped so fast and took my hands apart that the fly was still going mid-air with its momentum and flew onto my arm. Do you see it?
Yes, I see it. Oh, that's amazing.
I'm actually so fast. What the fuck?
That's amazing. Oh, jeez.
Well, on that note.
All right. Yeah, on that note,
you want to get us the
I've been
outro?
Eli. Yes, I've been Eli. I've been joined by my wonderful whatever Ryan.
Ho-ho.
Whatever. Coho Ryan.
It was still alive.
He might have.
Now it's not.
This fucking dude.
Now it's not.
But no. This has been TNC with RNE.